Thank you. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the Oxford University Pakistan Society for giving us this opportunity to speak here today, and especially Rafiq and Malik. The situation in Balochistan, many people sitting outside of Balochistan, whether they be abroad or even in other parts of Pakistan, may not realize how things are worsening there. And this has been the situation since the past 65 years. The oppressed people of Balochistan have been victims at the hands of the Pakistani military. They have been suppressed and oppressed at the hands of that military since Balochistan was forcibly occupied on the 27th of March 1948. States which are intolerant towards diversity are by necessity autocratic and bigoted, because they not only reject political and religious diversity, but they also reject natural ethnic diversity among people and demand that all submit to their political thought, their political practices, and their ethnic culture. Such states label diversity as dissent and set about to impose conformity and uniformity according to their set of beliefs, and anyone who resists them is labeled as a traitor and hounded or even done away with. Dear friends, Pakistan is the worst example of the states that crush diversity in the name of religion and supposedly superior political thought and culture that their elite and establishment represents. The absolute rejection of all forms of diversity didn't come as an afterthought to the establishment. It was their primary aim and motive behind the creation of this country. Before I proceed, I think the word establishment needs to be defined. And it was well defined by the UN Commission on Benazir Bhutto's assassination. In its report, it said, the establishment is generally used in Pakistan to refer to those who exercise de facto power. It includes the military high command and the intelligence agencies, together with the top leadership of certain political parties, high-level members of the bureaucracy, and business persons that work in alliance with them. The military high command and intelligence agencies form the core of the establishment and are its most permanent and influential components. As Kalat declared its independence on the 11th of August 1947, and its independent status was accepted by all the nations, to deprive Baloch of their independence began immediately, and all sorts of stratagems were employed, which included weaning away feudatory states of Karan, Makran, etc., and sowing dissension among Baloch Sardars. This was limited to Balochistan, but as a countrywide measure to impose uniformity, Jinnah declared that Urdu would be the national language. When Bengalis protested, they were fired upon, and that date, 21st February, is the International Mother Language Day. Bengalis were told to adopt Urdu, as Bengali was the language of Hindus. One wonders what made Urdu Islamic. The establishment used Islam as a stick to beat the nationalities into submission. It made abundantly clear that all will have to submit to their version of Islam and nationalism. Mir Wasbaksh Bazinjo said in his Darul Umrah speech of 14 December 1947, exposing the hollowness of the establishment's argument, and still is a valid argument and a fine enunciation of Baloch demands and aspirations. It is worth mentioning that Kalat remained independent for 227 days. Mir Wasbaksh Bazinjo said, and I quote, "We have a distinct civilization and a separate culture like that of Iran and Afghanistan. We are Muslims, but it is not necessary that by virtue of being Muslims we should lose our freedom and merge with others. If the mere fact that we are Muslims requires us to join Pakistan, then Afghanistan and Iran, both Muslim countries, should also amalgamate into Pakistan. We were never a part of India before the British rule. Pakistan's unpleasant and loathsome desire that our national homeland, Balochistan, should merge with it is impossible to consider. We are ready to have friendship with that country on the basis of sovereign equality, but by no means ready to merge with Pakistan. We can survive without Pakistan, but the question is, what would Pakistan be without us? He further said, I do not propose to create hurdles for the newly created Pakistan in the matters of defense and external communication, but we want an honorable relationship, not a humiliating one. If Pakistan wants to treat us as a sovereign people, we are ready to do so and ready to extend the hand of friendship and cooperation. If Pakistan does not agree to do so, flying in the face of democratic principles, such an attitude will be totally unacceptable to us. If we are forced to accept this fate, then every Baloch son will sacrifice his life in defense of his national freedom. Friends, Pakistan is not only a threat to the lives and the rights of the Baloch and Sindhi people living within its boundaries, it is a clear and present danger to peace, stability, security in the region, and aid to world peace. I think a quote from Cleve Staples Lewis will define this role quite clearly. He says, and I quote, of all tyrannies, tyranny exercised for the good of its victims may be the most oppressive. It may be better to live under robber barons than under omnipotent moral busybodies. The robber baron's cruelty may sometimes sleep, his cupidity may at some point be satiated, but those who torment us for our own good will torment us without end, for they do so with the approval of their own conscience. The tragedy for the oppressed nationalities and the menace for the region is the Pakistani establishment. Which is not only a robber baron, but it is also an omnipotent moral busybody. It is this lethal combination that endangers not only them, but also the world peace. There is rarely ever a terrorist incident which isn't linked to Pakistan. Their strategic assets have now become a menace for peace and stability everywhere. They now have plans to enter Balochistan as a charity to foment and foster hate and sectarianism of the worst kind and use Baloch soil as a launching pad against Afghanistan. The Baloch have suffered immeasurably from this twin-headed monster, as did the Bengalis. Fortunately, the Bengalis got the opportunity to go their way, but the Baloch continue to bear the brunt of oppression and atrocities. They have been the target of 5 military operations, and in the recent wave of systematic violence, more than 350 abducted persons have been killed and dumped only since July 2010. Thousands more are missing, and their fate may be no different. Friends, today the Baloch youth are no longer concerned or bothered about giving a historical, political, social, cultural, economic justification for its independence from Pakistan. The Baloch consider this genocide that is ongoing as enough justification for its liberation from Pakistan. Though Pakistan considers itself to be the torchbearer and guardian of Islam, during the holy festival of Eid, it practices it by dumping bullet-ridden corpses in Balochistan with notes in the victims' pockets, calling it an Eid gift for the Baloch people. The Pakistan Army's increasing presence all over Balochistan and its atrocities, including repeated military operations, is a sign of its weakness and fear of the Baloch becoming the masters of their homeland in their own destiny. In the words of Aung San Suu Kyi, it is not power that corrupts, but fear. Fear of losing power corrupts those who wield it, and fear of the scourge of power corrupts those who are subject to it. The Baloch have now reached a point of no return. The Baloch fully understand that they have no future in Pakistan. There is no other solution. We have come to this conclusion after 65 years of false promises, deception, atrocities, and bloodshed. The fact is that in reality, the Baloch have never even been a part of the artificial state of Pakistan. As the very foundation of our relation with Pakistan was based on injustice, how can anyone even imagine the Baloch getting their rights of any sort of justice in Pakistan when this is the case? The hostilities were initiated by the Pakistani state with the forcible annexation of Kalat, and the Baloch have always in self-defense. Ironically, it is the Baloch who are made out to be the aggressors, though they are simply trying to regain their right to be a part of the Committee of Nations, which they were denied under duress. The Baloch fully understand that they face overwhelming odds, but they also believe that the forces of history and dialects are in their favor, and Pakistan is slowly unraveling by its own doings, and that the world has come to realize that the threat to world peace and rights of Baloch and Sindhi people do not arise from rogue elements within the establishment, but that the entire establishment and the state is the rogue. The Baloch have been struggling to defend themselves as they fully realize that if they tarry any longer, they will be swamped by the colonists. I think James Russell Lowell's poem puts it across correctly. Once to every man and nation comes the moment to decide, in the strife of truth and falsehood, for the good or evil side. Some great cause, God's new Messiah, offering each the bloom or blight, and the choice goes by forever twixt that darkness and that light. Though the cause of evil prosper, yet this truth alone is strong, though her portion be the scaffold, and upon the throne be wrong. Yet that scaffold sways the future, and behind the dim unknown standeth God within the shadow, keeping watch above his own. Balochistan would have long been swamped by the colonists from the Pakistani state, who eye its resources and care not a whit for its people, if the Baloch had not resisted the aggressor. I salute all those brave Baloch who have been resisting the domination by the occupying Pakistani army with their indomitable spirit. They have a prosperous, secular and democratic Balochistan emerging from their sacrifices and unceasing efforts. As tribute to all those who have sacrificed and are sacrificed and will sacrifice in the future, I dedicate the poem in this. Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeoning of chance, my head is bloody but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds me and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.